A few weeks ago, Reverend Richard led us through a beautiful white stone ceremony. And during that ceremony, we each connected with our highest intention for the coming year, and we wrote it down. And an intention in this case is really a desired state of being. So we may set an intention to be more peaceful, to be grateful, to be loving, compassionate, healthy, prosperous, forgiving, Christ-like, and so on. And this is such a powerful ceremony, as you know. It's very meaningful when we connect with that still small voice of the divine within us, and we discern what is our highest intention. And as we begin to internalize that intention, it shifts our energy, and it raises our vibration. And it also reveals to us the direction that we are meant to go in. But that isn't where it's supposed to end. It's not supposed to be that you have an intention and you put it there on your stone or whatever and you look at it periodically. The intention is the beginning, and it must be followed by action. In Unity, our third principle is called the law of mind action. And it says that we create our own reality through the thoughts we choose to think. We like to shorten that to say, what we think about, we bring about. But notice that there are two aspects to this: the law of mind and action. What we think about, we bring about. So we hold an intention, but then we step forward to actually bring it to fulfillment. We take action. And the catalyst for us taking action and being willing to step into that unfoldment of what we most want in our lives, the key to all of that is commitment. Commitment. I realize that when I say that word commitment, it may send a few shivers up a few spines out there. Eons ago, when I was dating, in my dating years, I remember that the word commitment would send most single people running for shelter. Well, why? Because commitment has a certain weight and import to it. You see, when you say that I'm committed, it means I'm all in. It means I'm really taking this seriously, and I'm going to give it my all. Which is exactly why commitment is so very powerful. Because we're focusing all that we are on what we most truly want. You see, we're channeling our energy and our attention and our will into what's most important to us. It has that beautiful sense of clarity and rigor and discipline to it. We often think that commitment is something that we give to other people, and quite often it is. We commit to doing something or being a certain way. But the most important commitment is the one we make to ourselves, right? Because it really is activating this spirit energy within us. And here's one of my favorite quotes on this subject. It's from the 1951 book, The Scottish Himalayan Expedition, written by Scottish mountain climber William H. Murray. And Murray said this: until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans, that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance which no man could have dreamt would have come his way. You may have experienced this in your life. I've experienced in mine. when I set a clear intention and committed to it and took action, amazing things kicked in, amazing resources and support to make it happen. But the interesting thing, or one of the interesting things about this quote from William H. Murray, is that he was a mountain climber. So when I read about this importance of commitment and how important it is to keep us from drawing back, I've always thought to myself, oh, he must have written this to describe the commitment that it takes to ascend very tall, very steep mountains. But it turns out that the context for this quote is very different. He wasn't talking about what it took to climb the Himalayas. He was talking about what it took to buy his ticket to sail to Bombay to go on the climbing expedition, because that was the first step. And he wrote this: "This may sound too simple, but it is great in consequence." It was consequential because it meant he had made the commitment. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. And that led to him taking that first step. You see, when you're committed, you're not just interested or thinking about doing something, you actually are doing it. The essence of commitment is not words, but action. So here's a riddle for you. 5 frogs are sitting on a log. 4 of them decide to jump off. How many are left? Well, the answer is 5, because there's a difference between deciding and doing. They may have decided to jump off, but they didn't do it. Can you feel this in your own experience? You decide to do something, but you haven't quite done it. And when we make that commitment, it just sparks sort of a backbone in us, and a clarity and a strength and a resolve. You know, Jesus, when he was recruiting his disciples, he didn't go around to them and say, hey, I'm here to teach you a new way to think and see and be and live. Let me know if you're interested. No, he said, leave your nets and follow me. Leave your nets and follow me. Commit to this. Take action. Whew, you just feel that surge of power even thinking about it. And this is the power of commitment. We can apply it to essentially everything that comes before us in our lives, not only what we've written on our white stone or our intention for the year, but we can apply this power of commitment to complete a project, to solve a problem, to stay the course, to mend a relationship, to dream and pursue our highest dream. This power is always available to us. Now, I realize that sometimes when we think about making a commitment, it sounds like a very big deal. It sounds like it's going to be very overwhelming, like, oh boy, if I commit to that, that's gonna take a lot of time, a lot of energy. But in fact, we can take it, as W.H. Murray reminds us, we can take it one step at a time. And it can even be small steps. So one of my intentions for the year, not the one I wrote on my white stone, but in a very practical sense, is to clean out the clutter in our home. Well, this is a very tall order. Isn't it amazing how you buy a home and it's got so much space and you think, wow, what are we going to do with all this space? And years later, you're like, oh my gosh, we have to get rid of stuff. So when I think about this idea of cleaning out clutter, it's very easy to feel overwhelmed, like, oh, I'm never going to get through it all. So of course, what I'm doing instead is taking it one small area at a time. Okay, I'll clean out this drawer. Okay, I'll clean out the closet. I'll go through these papers by my desk, whatever it might be. And this is the beauty of it, is that once you set that in motion, you begin to feel this upsurge in energy. You feel motivated to keep going because it feels so good, especially if you're getting rid of clutter. It makes you feel lighter and freer and happier. And if we start small, it's more likely that we will continue. So whatever is on your list, you might think about this. How can I start small? Recently, I discovered this really great book. It's a fun book. It's an easy read. It's called Change One Thing. Change One Thing by Sue Hadfield. And basically the premise of the book is, if you want to improve your life, just change one thing. Change one thing to get you going. Intriguing. And then she writes, making one change in your life doesn't have to be daunting. Even small changes can have a huge impact. When you decide to make a change or introduce something new into your life, you feel empowered, and your life will never be the same. Any small change that you make starts a positive cascade that affects all aspects of your life. So how might we think about changing one thing, and a goal or an intention we've set for the year? Well, here's a great example. A lot of people on the spiritual path, as they start a new year, they think, I am going to really get into meditation this year. I'm going to do that every day. Well, here we are on the 24th of the month, and I'm hoping that those of you who have set an intention like that are in fact doing that. But for a lot of people, what they quickly find is, oof, I'm not really finding the time to do that for 20 minutes twice a day, as is recommended. So you can start very, very small. And here's a fun way to do it. I found this little website, and the website is actually called Do Nothing for 2 Minutes. It's exactly what's written up there, only squishedtogether.com. Do Nothing for 2 Minutes.com. What you are seeing is the sum total of the website. This is the entire website. So you pull this up, and you have 2 minutes to sit there and listen to the sounds of waves in the ocean. And if you touch the mouse or move it or click on anything on the keyboard, you get these giant red letters that say fail. And it's time to start over. I know this sounds like super elementary, and in a way it is, but listen, when you do this for 2 minutes, it has an effect. You have a sense of that kind of consciousness you go to, that place of peace when you're meditating. And it feels good, and it makes you want to do more. And I was told this morning, Lisa Carter shared with me that there's a wonderful new thing on Netflix called Headspace, and it's lessons in meditation. You can do that. We're going to have a meditation class here on Monday nights to help you out if that's your intention. But the point is, you just take it one step at a time. Or let's say, for example, you want to become more financially well off. And one of the ways you'd like to do that is by saving money. Well, here's a simple way, a simple small step you can take. Before you make a purchase, ask yourself these questions. Do I need it? That's always a great first question. Can I afford it? Will I use it? Is it cheaper elsewhere? How many hours or days will I have to work to pay for it? And finally, is it worth it? If we just honestly commit to going through that sort of mental process before we buy something, it's surprising how much we can save. You see, you can feel in each step how this is commitment expressing as one step at a time. And the reality is that commitment is the engine, right, that keeps us fired up. Not only to keep going, but to overcome whatever obstacles might appear in our path. Because there are always obstacles that appear in our path. But if our commitment is strong, if we're so clear on what we want, we keep going. Well, this last week, the 22-year-old Amanda Gorman stunned the nation with her incredibly inspiring poem, The Hill We Climb, at the presidential inauguration. It's an amazing young woman. She is the first National Youth Poet Laureate. She is the youngest in U.S. history to give the poem, or to speak the poem at the inauguration. She's also a cum laude graduate of Harvard University and the author of 3 books. One already been published, 2 others coming out in September. And listen to how this young woman has used the power of commitment. When she set out to write an inaugural poem that would inspire hope and foster a sense of collective purpose, she worried that she wasn't up to it. She was a little overwhelmed. And she said, her quote, "It was like, if I try to climb this mountain all at once, I'm just going to pass out." So she wrote a few lines each day till she completed it, step by step. But this powerful commitment in her has really expressed throughout her life. Seeing Amanda Gorman shine so brightly from the podium last Wednesday, you would never know the obstacles that she's overcome to get there. So Amanda and her twin sister Gabrielle were raised in Los Angeles by a single mother, Joan Wicks, a middle school English teacher. They were born prematurely. And in kindergarten, Amanda was diagnosed with an auditory disorder that caused a speech impediment. In the 3rd grade, a teacher introduced her to poetry, and it was through writing and reciting poetry that she found her voice. She would write in journals when she was out on the playground. At 16, she was named the Youth Poet Laureate of Los Angeles. And in college, her speech vastly improved through musical theater. And in fact, she memorized and recited all the lyrics to Lin-Manuel Miranda's musical Hamilton. And she later said the song Aaron Burr, Sir, helped her pronounce her R's. What commitment. You see, Amanda Gorman has big dreams. And she is achieving them already through the power of her commitment. And you have that same power within you. You have that same capacity to dream, to commit, and to achieve. It's all right there for you. And so the question to ask yourself today, whatever you're thinking of, whatever change you want to create in your life, whether it's the intention on your white stone or some other goal you may have set for yourself, to ask yourself, am I truly committed to this? Am I taking this seriously? Am I going to do this? If the answer is no, then maybe what you thought was an intention is more of a wish, and you're not quite there yet. Or you may be thinking, how can I build my commitment around this? How can I give it added power within me so that I take action? And if your answer is yes, I'm committed to this, then ask yourself, what step can I take? What next step to bring this to fruition? Remember, it can be very small and very simple. It will still be consequential. You see, commitment is power. And so when we become clear on what we want and where we're headed, and we begin taking action on that, the whole universe says, yes. It's almost like this potential energy that is everywhere out there, just waiting for us to give it some direction, just waiting to coalesce around our fondest dreams. And it's absolutely true what W.H. Murray said. As soon as we're clear, we've set our course and we're going forward, all manner of resources and assists and helpmates and coincidences, so-called, and synchronicities begin to show up to make it happen. It's an incredible experience. I experienced it when I came to Unity Renaissance. I knew I wanted to be here. It was in my heart. And one obstacle after another went by the wayside. So this is the power, your God-given power, to create the life of your dreams. So put it to use. And as you do, I invite you to hold in mind these inspiring words from the great transcendentalist philosopher Henry David Thoreau. If one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams and endeavors to live the life which he has imagined, he will meet with a success unexpected in common hours. He will put some things behind, will pass an invisible boundary. New, universal, and more liberal laws will begin to establish themselves around and within him, and he will live with the license of a higher order of beings. Let's turn now to our meditation. I invite you to take this time as a little gift to yourself, turning to your inner sanctuary, breathing in deeply, releasing and letting go, laying aside any busy thoughts, worries, or concerns. Come home. Come home to the presence of God within you. And breathe. As you breathe in this beautiful spirit energy, feel a sense of peace and all rightness washing over you. As if this lovely and loving divine light within you is soothing anything that needs to be soothed, any hurt, any sorrow, any angst. Breathe and let go. As if you are clearing away all else to behold the field of possibilities for your own unfoldment. Feeling this great sense of peace within you, I invite you to ask the question to your own inner knowing. As you bring up whatever change you've been longing to make, whatever way you're wishing to evolve, what step can I take? How can I go forward? How can I show my commitment and channel my own power to bring it into manifestation? What step can I take? What change can I make today? Breathe into a few moments of silence and listen for your answer. We feel gratitude and a sense of anticipation rising within us as we appreciate the words of our master teacher. It is the Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom, for you to live abundantly and fully. This is your birthright, so claim it. And for this truth and for the joy of the journey, we say thank you, God. And so it is. Amen.